We continue on with our Back to School series as local schools in the North Shire get set to reopen for another school year. Today, it's on to the Maple Street School in Manchester. Maple Street School, which opened in 1998, offers instruction from the pre-kindergarten through 8th grade and will open this year with 152 students. To learn more about what's new this year at Maple Street, we sat down with the head of school, Dan Skoglund.
So obviously very excited for a new school year. We do have a few new programs and actually a new mission statement and 3 new core values. When we last spoke, we were in the midst of engaged in a strategic plan. Schools, independent schools such as ours, go through that process every 5 to 10 years, and it was a good time for Maple Street to engage in that process. A lot of self-reflection, looking at academic programs, extracurricular programs, but the concept of identity and who we are as a school is the first thing to address in a strategic plan. So it was a very inclusive process, parents, alumni, board, faculty, staff. We actually hired an outside consultant to do some survey work for us to really get at what makes us unique, where are the areas we need to improve upon. So coming out of that, the new mission statement is to cultivate an inclusive community where the joy of learning ignites curiosity, growth, and independence in every student. And our 3 core values are respect, responsibility, and resilience. All of those words are used in a purposeful manner. Obviously, first and foremost, we want to create an inclusive community, not just for students, but for adults. And growth is a very important word to me because kids are not finished products, and education is all about process and pushing kids to grow their curiosity, but grow their academic and social emotional skills. So we're really excited about our new mission statement, our core values. It's something I'll kind of hone in on and pound into our community throughout the year. So that's the kind of first and foremost piece of it. Secondly, new programs, our outdoor program. We've always been connected to the outdoors. It's been part of our academic program, but we're going to double down on it. Our kids pre-K all the way up to 8th grade will be outside more. We have a partnership with Merck where our whole school goes up there in the fall and in the spring. We're also going to utilize partnerships with other organizations. But then just our campus, one of our faculty members, a part of his job now that didn't exist before is to lead an outdoor program for grades 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then to design curriculum for our lower school grades. So we're really excited about that, just the simple fact of our students will be outside a lot more, engaged in nature, self-discovery, all the things that I think mean a great deal to people who live in Vermont. And then secondly, our elective program. In the past, we've had a specialist program for our upper school, so grades 6, 7, and 8, that really comprised of PE, physical education, music, and art. Now we're going to give kids autonomy to pick a bunch of different electives. So teachers have been charged with designing new classes such as cinematography, community service, abstract art, unique physical education offerings. So we really want kids to have the choice, the autonomy to choose the special offerings that they want, and also teachers to tap into things that get them enthused and excited to be an educator instead of us mandating that. So those are the 2 programs, the outdoor piece as well as this, the elective offerings, and then again back to our new mission statement and 3 core values. It'll be an exciting year of healthy change.
And earlier this year, we talked a bit about cell phones, and they've become kind of controversial, whether or not schools should allow them in school. I just wondered, any changes to the policies you had in place back then, or is it still basically the same?
Yeah, no, that's a great and very relevant question, Andrew. Technology is something we talk about all the time, and yes, we're going to have a more restrictive policy. Being a pre-K through 8 school, we need to, I think, lead and be even more restrictive than our peer schools and certainly high schools or colleges on removing screens from day-to-day interactions. So the new policy this year, we've always removed phones from kids' hands, but this year we actually have purchased pouches. So we're going to put pouches, numbered pouches, behind the teacher's desk, and students have to place their cell phone in that pouch to start the day. They cannot access it until they depart at 3 p.m. to end the day. Obviously, phones should not be out during class, and they've never been out during class at Maple Street, but I actually have found as an educator in high schools, as well as now the head of a school, of a pre-K through 8 school, it's really the soft spots. It's the time between classes, the time in the hallways, the time during lunch, that's when culture is created. That's when kids form connections. That's when they, catch up on life, build relationships, talk about what's going on in the world. That is culture. And too often I've seen, especially in the last 3 to 5 years, those soft spots, those times when it's just dead time, when you should connect with a friend or form a relationship with a teacher, kids are on a device. So moving forward, they will not have that here. All day long, when at Maple Street School, you will not see a phone in a child's hand until they depart and leave for the day.
And then finally, I guess I just wondered, do you see any lingering effects from the whole COVID pandemic still impacting learning and education? I understand that there are a lot of schools that seem to be struggling with kids who are either behind grade level where they would have been pre-COVID, or have lingering issues from whether or not when schools went to a hybrid learning pattern. Are you seeing any evidence of that still at this point, or have we moved on and sort of recovered and gotten back to where we would have been?
Yeah, again, great question. Yeah, you still definitely see residue from COVID, both with learning, literacy and math, I think, are still trying to catch up with certain grades. I think you see particularly students who are now entering kind of the upper school levels, upper school in terms of middle school, so grades 6, 7, and 8, who were in those very kind of prime spots during the pandemic of developing their literacy and math skills. They are still playing catch up. So you still see that. I think you still see some of the social emotional residue of kids learning how to interact with one another and just build connections, right? It's hard to do that over screens. So bringing people together and forming those skills is still something that we're really honing in on. And then finally, I think for parents and families, I'm a parent of 3 kids. It's a very challenging time. I think now with the changes in the labor market and the professional world, remote work is really here to stay. So people are more mobile and nimble in terms of their movements and not as tied, I think, to a physical location, to a schedule. So at times we see families who, take time off. You always want to support a family, especially if they're traveling and it's going to enrich an experience for their family and their children. Having said that, we have a fixed calendar. So I think you're seeing more of that, just trying to meet families where they are. Having said that, you run an academic calendar and you try to stick with the routine because it's best for kids. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I think, in terms of just human behavior, and the rise of remote work, it sometimes is challenging with a fixed academic schedule. The importance of education, especially the level we do it at, for these elementary years on up to the high school level, it's really important to prepare kids academically and socio-emotionally to be successful people and the best versions of themselves.
The school bell will ring again on Thursday, August 29th, to launch another year at Maple Street. Next, we'll be moving on to the Long Trail School in Dorset. Until then, for the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.